feel like I should say something smart.
Hey, I'm Sparrow with Squirrel Team 6 Airsoft, and I'm here with a couple of buddies, and go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Scooter with Squirrel Team 6.
I'm Brownicus with Squirrel Team 6.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
And we're just going to talk a little bit about Rebel Dawn, which is the Milsim type event we played at Big Lake on April 21st. We all played on the AFN team, and this year AFN actually won. Last year I played on the Corona team, and we just shellacked the AFN team. And I just want to talk about, like, what are some things that might have changed the luck that AFN had this year, besides the fact that I was on their team.
You know, there was a time we take a guy like you out back and beat you with a hose. Now you got your goddamn unions.
Yeah, that's the difference.
I don't know if it's all just you or some of the newer players that were on the team as well.
Could have been.
I thought, maybe I was wrong, but I thought there was more AFN players to begin with, which gave us a slight numbers advantage.
Refs told me there was 15 more AFN players than there was Corona.
Okay.
So a full third more.
Yeah. Well, there was 108 people that showed up.
Oh,
so
that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost 30 more than last year. Like 33 more than last year showed up. So that's good.
So
good
just
turnout.
15 superiority of force is not necessarily that much of a factor if you have good tactics.
Yeah, they made it sound like it doesn't make much of a difference at that small a number. If it was like 20 or 25 or 30, then yeah, that would have been an obvious advantage. But they also said that earlier in the day, some of the AFN went over to the Corona side to help balance things out after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, did it seem like they were putting up more of a fight, or was it more of a challenge after lunch versus before lunch?
No, I thought just before lunch they seemed to start really getting coordinated. I know that's when we were struggling. We lost a couple flags. I know they flanked us in the Big Pines about that time. It was towards the end there, so you know, maybe they just got some energy and started pushing harder.
That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was our one weakness, is when they could work the edge of the field and get behind us to, like you said, around Big Pines, or the other side if they managed to get towards the hill by the village and stuff in those woods.
Oh, the south side there, yeah.
You know, and like you said, I was new to it, but right out of the gate, I know at AFN, the battle cry, "We are AFN," and yelling and screaming and going out. You know, everybody ran right up to the line and started engaging the Corona folks, and I mean, it was exciting. I'm totally hooked. I mean, one time, I mean, yeah, a little bit old probably to be starting it. I've suffered the physical disparities, if you will, because of being a little bit older and extremely out of shape. But yeah, I got totally hooked just within that first hour or so. I'm like, I want more. Yeah, no, I thought it was a blast, and you know, I'll share a little bit of my experience getting ready for playing the first time. A lot of support from Squirrel Team 6, which was awesome. Great team there. But once we got onto the Airsoft, you know, I started working with the Airsoft guns and then getting rigs and getting mags and all that kind of stuff.
I remember when I took you to the store, I'm just like, okay, Scooter, you don't need all this stuff.
But yeah, it's cool. You know, and Sparrow, thank you. You helped a lot guiding in there. And then just getting into it, seeing all the different types, the rigging and all that kind of stuff is very personal. People have different setups for themselves, what they feel work for themselves and whatnot, including me. And, you know, just even after this first game, I'm adapting some of my stuff based off of some knowledge from Papa Smoke, just giving me some better information, and then experiencing what doesn't necessarily work, and then him saying, well, you know, it kind of works for me. So that's been part of the fun in and of itself, and just planning for the next one. You know, cleaning up the airsoft rifles and the guns, and redoing your straps and your radios and stuff like that. All that's already started. Just getting ready and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I've been farting around with my stuff too. Because the problem with the radios I had with them echoing so bad, you guys couldn't hear me. I took them all apart and I put little tiny piece of cotton in there to take away the echo. Sparkle says they sound better now. And then when you got here, I just finished testing. I took the straps off of my cage and I towed them to those clips on my helmet. So now I can unclip it and just let it hang, or take it off completely, and I don't have all what would it be, like 5 straps going all the way around my head from the goggles and from the cage. So
Yeah, and having
just changing things.
Having the protection is wonderful. I mean, you're getting shot in the face and whatnot, but having it on you, having it pressing against your face I don't like that at all. That's quite literally oppressive. I mean, when you're out there running and trying to breathe and you're sweaty, you don't really want all that
I should
stuff.
have you try my helmet on before you go, because see, it's not pressing up against your face really bad. It's hanging there a little loose, but it's close enough to where it's not gonna bounce around on when you're running. So I think it's actually gonna work out really, and it's still adjustable too.
I have to try that. I still have to find a helmet that's comfortable for me too. I have kind of a big egg-shaped head, and the ones I tried pressing all the wrong places, so I was wearing a baseball cap or a boonie hat. But yeah, I'd like to
Those
try
work
that out.
fine. I mean, you don't need a helmet, so.
Speaking of boonie, wasn't that what you were wearing?
Yeah.
Because you were doing sniper.
Yeah, I've never been a big hat person.
Tell me you like my hat. Why can't you say you like my hat?
You're not wearing a hat!
But I don't really plan on buying a helmet. Prior to this year, I had a full helmet paintball mask for my paintball playing days. And that works fine. But I wanted something that didn't cover quite as much of your head, just so you could, I don't know. It's nice having the hat because you can take it off when you're hot or when you're walking between the respawns and stuff. Because you get hot when you're running around, you can take this off, and then all of a sudden it gets the sweat out and all that stuff. And I didn't have any problems. I did get shot in the face once. It didn't actually bother me, but I will be buying and I shouldn't say I will be. I have a similar to I think what you have, a face mask now.
The half that's soft on the sides.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
The one
so
Tigers.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've tried some cages like you had, and I've never found them very comfortable. So I was just basically waiting till I found what I was looking for, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm looking for. So
Yeah, that Tiger one, I had the full face cage as well, and it just pressed in the wrong places.
yeah.
So I get the Tiger one, which is actually soft on the side, but it's padded enough to where when you do get shot, and trust me, I got shot all up my right side by that minigun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got shot in the face, the neck, and in the, not necessarily in the ear, but on the ear, and it hit one of the straps right there, and that probably saved me from getting shot in the ear. But my ear was ringing for like, at least 20 minutes. But going with that soft-sided strap, does that help you also get a cheek weld when you're shooting that sniper rifle?
Yeah, I could. That's what I'm hoping for. So.
Yeah. How was that when you were doing the sniper?
How was it? I looked through it the one time, and I'm just like, that was pretty cool.
There were a lot of people calling you up. I know I did once when we were at...
We kept calling you Novrich. Hey, Novrich, check the windows.
I know when we were at the flag between the big pines and the small pines, which the Corona team had their FOB on the far side of the small pines from where we were trying to capture that flag. There were guys down in the bunker on the far side that we just couldn't reach. We were trying to lob them over and called you up, and you were able to get them.
Yeah, I think I got from the big pines, little pines, which I don't have a rangefinder with me, but would you say it's like more than 200 feet, less than 300 feet?
If you're at the closest part of big pines
middle.
to small pines, that's probably 125 feet maybe. But if you're like halfway up the big pines, yeah, I'd say that you're getting close to 200 feet to edge of small pines.
Yeah. I'm going to bring a rangefinder next time we go out, just to be sure.
Yeah, I'm going to buy one here.
We're going to snipe the whole field.
You should.
Like,
If you know, I mean, you can do a more effective fire if you know how far away it's going to be.
Yeah, and it worked pretty well. Like I said, this was the first time actually playing with it, so I did sight the scope in a little bit. But when I first got up, it was shooting all to the right. So I was like, basically, the nice thing about the scope is you don't need Allen wrenches. You can just unlock the lock washer, twist the knobs, and then you can readjust it as you're going. So by the end of the afternoon, it was pretty accurate at 200 feet. So I don't know if it was the morning or afternoon, but I got called up there, and I think I got about 2 or 3 people in about a 3-minute period.
nice.
Yeah, well done.
So you were saying before something orange tips. You could see the orange tips kind of
Yeah,
bouncing through the woods.
Well, because they would say, hey, there's somebody over there, and it's all shadows in the pines, with exception of a few areas. And there was one spot where there was a bunker, and it was all just green. You couldn't tell what was there when you're even looking at the scope. I could never make out the guy's face. I could maybe see an arm every once in a while. And I would be like, is he still there? Did he crawl away? But I could see the orange tip from his gun. I'm like, okay, if he's, the orange tip's right here, that means his body's probably about 2 feet behind it. I actually got him eventually doing that.
Well, that's the way you got to do it.
Do you ever see that they put a video on Facebook, the minigunner? I don't know at what point in the day it was, but they were over by the flag by Small Pines, and he took off running from the Jeep. And you see him jump, and it looks like he trips or something, and just a big, huge splash of water.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like he went right into the drink. So the sniper role, I mean, is it really, is it everything you thought it would be, or is it...
Yeah, obviously when you watch Novich or whoever, they're, 10 times better. They make it look very easy. And I still got to fine-tune, adjust the scope a little bit, but... especially the big pines where there's not tons of little brush in there. It was very nice because I could lean it against a branch, a 1-inch long branch, whatever, from one of the pine trees. And you could shoot down 200-300 feet if you can see that far. And it was actually pretty accurate. The one time I felt kind of bad, but not really bad. They brought the truck up to the village the one time, and they had, I think, the minigun on it, or they were just spraying like crazy. And I had to duck behind the barrel because they were within my 100 range limit. So I waited till they moved the truck back up, popped up, and I headshot the guy right skin contact. I could hear him scream, and I was like, I felt kind of bad, but also not really. So.
All's fair in love and war. Okay. That was Corona.
Yeah.
Screw Corona, scumbags. I was on Corona last year. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Was it Papa Smoke or was it F.U. Chew? They were telling me that whenever they saw a group of Coronas, they'd all be huddled together. And it was just really easy to take out a group of people when they're that close to each other. And like a grenade goes flying and they're all dead. And so they weren't applying tactics.
And we our AFN, there was our team, there was those guys in like the Russian outfits, and then there was another team. And they were all well coordinated. I could never see anybody on the Corona team that, that's a squad or something. It seemed like everybody was a bunch of individuals. And, speaking back to the beginning of the game, we all charged up the field. I didn't see any of them until we had already got midway through the big pines. So I don't know how coordinated they were at the beginning of the game, whether they said, you guys are going to do this, you guys are going to do that. Because Ethan, he was like, your squad is going to go attack, this squad's going to go defend. So we kind of all had roles.
This squad's going to go grab flags.
You know what the chain of command is? It's a chain I go get and beat you with till you understand who's in rotten command here.
They did have one group of, it was 5 or 7 guys that were pretty well coordinated. They're the ones that ended up taking the flag in the big pines. And they're also the ones that took the one between the big pines and the small pines the first time. And they would actually, they'd do leapfrogs when they were coming up. So they'd have guys firing and then they'd have guys move up and then they'd fire. And they kept doing that. And they were moving to the flanks when they had to in a coordinated effort. That one time when we were up in the pines, it was probably about a third of the way through the morning when we started getting pushed back a little bit. It was that group of like 5 or 7 guys that were doing it. They had very little help because everybody else was going out in the field. But they were belly crawling, and then they would move up in a coordinated effort and stuff. So they were pretty good. But, most of the time, even when Spaz and I walked up that, what would have been the west side of the field, and got up to where we could see their FOB, they were leaving in groups of people, and they never dispersed. They didn't go in a line, a skirmish line. They weren't going in squad order. They were literally just clumps of people all walking together.
It makes me wonder if the people who played on Corona last year joined the AFN side this time, because the AFN just got creamed last year.
Yeah.
This year was a good, close game. If they hadn't captured our commander, it would have probably been just almost a closeout like last year.
Captured our commander.
Captured.
In quotes. Oddly enough, he was always behind our force, but somehow got captured.
And I don't even know where they captured him.
Yeah. Well, if you recall, there was a time when we were trying to get a hold of him, and we even went to Channel 2 to get a hold of him, and it was just odd that at that time, it was right around lunch, wasn't it?
I have no idea when he got captured.
Yeah, I think it was.
I assumed it was right at the end of the day.
No, it was around lunchtime because we were trying to find out some information on what he wanted us to do when we got back together, and we couldn't raise him on the radio. And that's when we went to 2 as well to try to get a hold of him, but he never responded. So it was definitely a fun game. I mean,
yeah. But yeah, I just wonder if a lot of the Corona guys like, I'm going to go AFN next year, fight for the underdog. I know that's what I did. And then I dragged you guys all with because I figured most of us had mostly green apparel. And it would just be easier for 1 or 2 people to buy green versus everybody trying to buy tan.
right.
But I don't know if it was the teams were kind of stacked up the same way they were last year and they just weren't coordinated, or if a lot of the more experienced players
Flipped
colors just to, like, well, I already said it. So, I cut it out of the videos, but right before lunch when I was handed the medic bag, it's like the guy gave it to me. He's like, well, some guy in a black shirt gave me this. He says it's for you. And I'm just like, son of a bitch, It's like fucking Papa Smoke. God damn it, doesn't want to be a medic. He quit being a medic. And I was just like, well, he's not wearing a black shirt. So it must have been Timuli who had, because he was wearing a black shirt. So I was just like...
They switched, Brian and him switched medic. But he must not have been medic very long, because then it was like less than a half hour later, you were the medic.
Yeah. And at first I was kind of pissed off. It was just like, I was already trying to be squad leader, which I don't think I did very well. So I was just fighting against being the medic.
So you did fine.
But honestly, once I got on the field and I started healing people, I was like, I really do like being medic.
No girl wants to marry a doctor who can't tell if a man's dead or not.
Neither here nor there, though.
I don't think having Papa Smoke as a medic is necessarily fair to the other team, because he's absolutely nuts.
I heard a lot of stories about he would like power slide in behind somebody and
he'd run and slide the last 25 feet so that he didn't get hit while trying to get up to the ditch or the bunker. And he had apparently picked one guy up, fireman style carry, to run him in
and hurt his back.
Yeah.
He was at the chiropractor that following Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're in your 30s now. You're no longer in your 20s. You need to calm down a little bit.
I saw Ethan do that too when we were in the Big Pines and the medics were spread out. He picked somebody up and carried him back. So I was like, I'm not going to fireman carry somebody who's much bigger than me out of here.
No, when I got shot and had to lay down, it was tough enough for me to haul myself up using a tree just to walk back.
But I mean, some of my other impressions, I didn't feel like, and maybe this was just me, I didn't feel like all of the rules, having not played this event before, and probably most of the other players have, I knew there was something about the ammo crates, and I was like, if we find them, bring them back, and then something happens. I figured out by lunch that that's what the Jeep runs and things come from.
That wasn't how it was last year.
Yeah, so I didn't really know that. I didn't even know at all until after the fact that there was some downed pilots or something. I was like, didn't know that was even a thing.
Spaz captured the rescue of the downed pilot.
Oh.
So I have that footage.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I didn't. Well, the down piloting is supposed to be a surprise.
Okay.
I think what they did is they throw a special colored smoke grenade, and then they tell the commanders, okay, they're down pilots out there. You got to look for this colored smoke, and then they're supposed to relay the information to the rest of the team. I don't know if they did that. I never once heard Ethan on the radio, but that's not his fault.
No.
Okay, well then that's fine. If it was intended to be a surprise, that's fine.
It's intended to be a surprise. And then last year, like I said, this year you had to have the ammo boxes to collect a gun run or troop transport and all that. Last year they handed out cards at the beginning of the game, and there was 4 or 5 gun run cards. There was 8 transport cards, and then there was a firing squad, or I can't remember what it was called, but it basically allowed your whole squad to shoot full auto for 5 minutes, whether you had an LMG or not. And they gave those out. So I remember Snap we'll give a couple of this group, and then we could trade with other groups if needed.
Yeah, and Corona did actually use the vehicles transports
a lot.
They used it pretty effectively, because we had all. There was one time they just snuck all the way around and just drove right into the village, and I was like, how is there nobody of our team on this side covering?
We were holding the line at Big Pines.
Yeah. Oh, and I would say that would be another rule. I know myself and a lot of people, we were not sure whether we were allowed to shoot at the vehicle because, it's common sense. You don't shoot somebody who's driving a vehicle. So it was kind of like, can I kill the driver? Can I kill the people in it? Because there was once, I know I shot somebody. I was looking at my scope, hit him right in the chest, didn't call his hits. I was like, can I kill these guys? Are they like a special God mode type thing?
No, you're supposed to be able to shoot him. He might not have felt it,
I'm
bouncing
assuming
around
he
or
didn't,
whatever.
but
no, and that's what got me is like at one point after lunch. This is going to be in the next video, but I'm walking up the road, and the pickup truck, the blue Dodge, goes driving right by me, and there's a bunch of Coronas in it. And I kind of picked up my gun and followed him, and I put it down. I'm like, hey, what's the story with that truck that just drove by? But nobody was answering me. I don't think the refs heard me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I watched them go into the village, and that's why I got on the radio. So it's like, we got Corona in the village, and I ran up to the village to kind of met up with some other AFN to go after him. But then I asked the ref later. She's like, "Oh yeah, if you see a vehicle going by with just standard soldiers, as long as they're not wearing the reflective vest, you can shoot them. You can shoot the driver to stop the truck, or you can shoot the people on the truck." And I was just like, "Damn it! I could have had like 4 kills right there."
So I think that probably speaks to some opportunities in an organization and the whole event too. And I don't know, how you do it better. Some ideas perhaps as you separate the teams before you do the briefing. You just make sure that the leaders of the team know the briefing, because in the morning it was a little bit chaotic. You still had some people coming in who should have been there, who should have been paying attention, but they weren't. They were disrupting the speaker, and I don't remember who was trying to talk. They had a bullhorn, but they weren't using it. They weren't using it properly. Not being clear about the message and that kind of stuff. There was literally some, if you do this, and if you're doing a mil sim, if it were me doing it, and perhaps I'm being an armchair quarterback here, but my first event, I'm going to have a lot to say about it. I'll just say that. You conduct it in a mil sim sort of way. So if you're the guy talking at the beginning, and I think Travis actually piped up and told the people they needed to be up there, do it in that sort of a manner. Talk like you're a leader. In other words, you're the platoon leader, you're the drill instructor, whatever. So you have some command of the folks so that they pay attention. And then when you get back, you rebrief your squads, you rebrief your platoons, whatever it is, and your individual teams to ensure there's understanding. And I think that would probably enhance the gameplay, the understanding, and as well and the enjoyment of everybody that's participating.
Yeah, because there was one point I went walking through the trenches, and I saw the laptop and the little radio thing, the intel, and I looked at it and I'm like, huh. Who left that there? And I just kept on walking. I didn't think anything of it.
You're right. And you mentioned that, and that reminds me, when we were going back after lunch, there was some a Corona box with the red tape on it by our flag. And I'm like, are we supposed to do something with that? When I found out later, we're supposed to pick that up and bring it back.
Yeah.
And I had every opportunity to do it. There was nothing stopping me from doing that, and I just didn't know.
Could have grabbed that one there. I could have grabbed the one that I saw at another part of the trench. I could have grabbed the laptop, but I didn't know about that stuff.
And I know I was excited in the morning too, so I'll take responsibility of not knowing or not paying attention. But I think to get that attention, you don't want to push people away either. So if you're being too stern, is there a risk that some people won't want to go through that? But you're in a mil sim. Suck it up. It's all role playing. Play the role.
Right. And when we were at TCA last year, it wasn't mil sim, but they had everybody come together. They had the guy do exactly what you're saying. And that was very clear to me. Like, this is the objective, what's going on. These are the rules. These are what you need to know. Things like that. Whereas here it was kind of, I don't know. I didn't quite get everything. And we were not that far from, I think it was Ethan who was given the speech. But I don't think he covered all the topics. I don't even think it was necessarily, we missed something. But I don't think it was necessarily that we missed something. It was just some things just weren't covered at all.
I think they were... last year they did a really good job of explaining things, but the group was also a lot quieter during the explanation. This year, a lot of the guys, like I said, they were hanging back at their vehicles, like, oh, I don't need to hear what's going on or whatever. And then I think they were in a hurry to get things rolling because it's supposed to be 10 a.m. sharp. We start playing, and I don't think we started playing until
almost 11.
Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock by the time we started playing. So I think they were just rushing to get going, and just things got skipped over,
and like things like the
7 Ps.
Yeah, like the Chrono, that was kind of like a bottleneck for a lot of things Like, I don't know. It just seemed like it took a long time.
Yeah, one chrono for 100 and some people.
No, they had two there, but there's only one person manning it.
Yeah, and one of them, when I got up there, I don't know whether it was me or the person before me, it stopped working, so that was like a 5-minute delay too.
Do we really need to chrono?
I don't know. I mean, with a gun like mine, I could put in a 190 spring and shoot 700 feet a second, and you would never know unless you chronoed it. But I don't have that spring. But...
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I didn't think of that part. But I'm used to running the AEG, and mine are all 400 feet or below. So
yeah,
I've never thought about, I need to go higher than that, because I like the capability of going full auto, and you can't do that above 400.
Yeah, same with I don't know what their limits on sniper was, but I had one that was below 500, one that was above 500, and they just said, okay.
500 feet per second, and then minimum 100 foot engagement.
Yeah.
LMG is like the one that Spaz was using. It was 450 feet per second for full auto, and it was a 60 foot engagement rule. When watching his footage, I don't think he never had an issue with being too close to shoot anybody full auto. But even then, with that one, he could go semi-auto if he wanted. So, I mean, he could engage anybody any distance if he wanted.
Yeah, like I said, I think I only ever had one time where I was like, I can't use my gun. That was when the vehicle, I can plan for how far to be. I can't plan for a vehicle stopping 20 feet away from me. So, but luckily I was hiding behind the barrel. The guy never saw, one of the guys never saw me. I had my pistol and got him. Unfortunately, I had the issue with the pistol mag, so I used all my pistol ammo because I had only one mag with me. So I was
you should have done what I did last summer. Is I went to draw my pistol, but it didn't come out of my holster, so I just pointed my finger and was like bang bang, and it didn't work.
Well, I mean, technically there wasn't a bang bang rule for this game.
There wasn't, but
I did pull up my pistol
in desperation.
I did pull up my pistol later in the afternoon and did bang bang somebody. They didn't take it, so I shot him. So
I would take.
You gave him an option.
And I was like, I'm actually like 25 feet away, so I'm not super close. But I was like, I'll give you the option because I'm right behind you. But
But what they were saying, if you get to drop on somebody, give them the bang bang benefit, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, no, but I like the Milsim stuff. Just as much as I like skirmish. I like it all, honestly. I don't have a preference for one or the other. It's just got to be a well-run event or well-run individual games. Because, like I said, the World War III thing at TCA, I didn't think that was very well run. I had more fun just playing with our group on the smaller fields than I did playing with the large group.
Even last year we had Squirrel Team of 6 at TCA. This was my first time really playing with a lot of the guys. I'm like, all right, we're going to be a squad. We're going to do things. We start the game.
Yeah.
Half the people go this way, half the people go the other way. And I was like, okay, I guess we're not a squad, really. Whereas this time we were much more organized,
Well, because you brought it up when we had our meeting. It's just like, are we going to function as more of a squad? Or are we just, hi, we're a Squirrel Team. We're going to go wherever,
I'd like to see us function more as a squad. I look forward to some of that in the future. I mean, we have the radios. I know, and I get into it. So there were times I got frustrated, and most of the times I got frustrated was when I was with folks that I couldn't communicate with.
Yeah.
We have the radios. We can talk to each other. We can communicate. And then we're trying to take a flag or something with 4 or 5 other people who, one, they don't pay attention to you, and 2, they can't. If they were paying attention to you, they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked the radios because there was the one time I went up to the village. It was one of the times they drove up a vehicle. Well, the main time I can recall, went up to the village with other guys not from our squad, and their vehicle had just driven up, dropping off, 8 guys in there, and everybody scattered. I came up, I was the last person into the village. I see 2 of our guys friendly, they get shot, so I'm like, great, I'm here in the village by myself. I know there's like at least 4 other guys on Chrono still. But I was able to kind of radio Merkin and some of the other guys and I think Sparkles too, get some more help there. But I was like, oh god, this is gonna end badly. Me sitting here, I can't use my rifle right now. I'm pretty sure I used all my pistol ammo at this point, so I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and
pour BBs in your hands and throw them at people. Sprinkles.
I would just say, in terms of the strategy, the only thing Our initial strategy was very good in the game. We took a lot of points, but I think Ethan or whoever I was not getting any orders after like an hour, and we became very disorganized. And I think that's when AFN or Corona was making a comeback. They would sneak around the side, and nobody ever said we need to put position guys on the northern side of that one flag to keep them from getting out.
I kind of was.
I mean, people were, but nobody officially said let's park a squad here, as opposed to just pile people into the
commander was. What I was doing was looking at where the other AFN guys were, and trying to put us in places where there might not be anybody. Because if I'm on the south end of Pines, I can see that we have guys covering the south field, but I can't see the north side. So it's like, well, do we have anybody on the north side? Should we go up there or whatever? I mean, like when we restarted from lunch, I was looking at the map and saying, well, let's form a line along right here so we can cover the entire south end of the field and keep them from getting the Pines flag or the south field flag or the north. We can, and the north flag and the far east flag. Those 4 flags we could have easily covered with just our squad manning along that line, but it got broken up when we realized, Corona's in the woods. They're in Pines, and all of a sudden we kind of scattered. I know you and Spaz went east, and you were covering that, and I think a bunch of you guys went into the Big Pines to try to take out the Corona that infiltrated it, and I was kind of in the trenches, just kind of what needs to go where. I mean, eventually they did try coming along the south field.
And maybe that's it. Maybe we don't try to cover the entire battlefield, but we just work as a squad with 2 fire teams. We have enough people for that, and we focus on objectives ourselves. And if it's a big pine where you need somebody on the south and the north, you break up those squads, but we're still working together. And if one falls down, the second one retreats to support them.
Yeah, and that's where I would have liked to see Ethan say, your squad's going to be in charge of covering these 2 flags. This other squad's going to be in charge of covering these 2 flags. Kind of dictate, as opposed to just everybody went out there and we were deciding what we were doing.
You are correct.
Yeah, last year, that's how Snap ran it. He was very specific as to what he wanted squads to do. And people were constantly reporting to him. Either they would run up to him and talk to him, or if they had radios that communicate with his radio. I know the Bullfrang radios we use don't communicate with all the other radios, so there's a slight disadvantage there. But he was just like, all right, I want your squad and your squad to cover a line right here, and he'd be pointing along that trench. He's like, I want you guys to stay there, don't advance, just stay there and hold. Because there was that one flag way over by the entrance from last year. That one kept going back and forth, and eventually he said, you know what, we don't need that flag. We've got the other 4 flags. They can have the one in the village, they can have the one in the southeast corner. We just need to keep them at those flags, because at that point you had the majority, and there was, if you kept them from there was no way they could take them.
And were the flag locations supposed to be like a secret?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were last year too. We had no idea where they were until we started running out into the field.
Okay.
Well, the fobs changed this year too, so that's nice. They mix it up so it's not the same thing every time. Because last year our fob was down in Death Valley, in that house down in Death Valley. And the AFN's fob was in the little junkyard area on the backside of the village hill. So,
ooh, that would have been a bad place to have one.
It wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad for them. I mean,
if somebody got the high
they weren't going to get attacked. Well, that's just you don't attack the fob. I mean, you can harass them, but really, what's the point? You shoot people at the fob, they just go and respawn. You're using up all your ammo, but you're not really killing anybody.
Yeah.
So, but that is just, they changed everything, and the only flags that we saw when we were walking to our fobs is I saw the entrance in the middle of the field. I didn't know where the other flags were until we started charging the field and trying to get the control points that we could.
And they would have seen 3 flags as well.
Yep. So we all knew where those flags were, and I think those were the flags where the battle was the heaviest. When Papa Smoke and we broke off to the right, so we went towards the west side of the field. So we took the one that was behind Big Pines. It wasn't in it. It was in the trenches behind Big Pines. Yeah. Well, there weren't even trenches there at that point. Those weren't added till later. And then we started moving towards Small Pines because there was one. That one wasn't the same place. There was that flag by Small Pines. And then it wasn't until we turned and started going across the southern part of the field that it was like, oh, there's the Six Flag. And they had 6 flags last year, not 5. So I think they do a good job with mixing it up a little bit.
So for Squirrel Team, strategy and sticking together.
So are there any other issues that you guys, I mean...
Well, now that you mention it. I had a little bit of an issue with the dead regs. That was one of the rules that was written. Everybody had to bring a dead reg. So
rules!
So I went about a dead reg. And for the most part, people who had them used them. But every once in a while, I'd see people walking, and if they're not, you had tape on your back, but if they're walking towards you, I can't always tell which team they're on, especially because some people would switch teams, so they'd have tan colors on and be on the green team or vice versa. And I'm like, I'd be looking through my scope, and I'm like, I can't tell whether these people are alive or dead. And I only have 22 rounds in my magazine, so I don't want to just start shooting and hope, they'll let me know. So, and I don't want to call out and give my position away. Hey, you guys hit. So I was kind of like, I'd have to wait. And like, okay, I think those are dead guys.
Mm-hmm.
But
the guys that are in the non-traditional colors, in other words, they're not tan and they're not green, they should have team colors on all 4 sides. They should have them on their arms, their front, and their back. Because I shot several guys that were on our team, like...
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
2 of them for sure that were wearing black, because I couldn't see blue.
Yeah, and I know we had one guy who was wearing a tan jacket, and I was like... I'll remember you. Like, I'll remember that you're on my team when I see you, but I'm like, if I didn't know this right now, I would be shooting you. Cause...
Yeah, when I got handed that blue tape before we started, and I started tearing off pieces, but I was only tearing them off, I don't know, 8-9 inches, and then I would fold them through like loops and whatever.
Yeah,
but by the time I did that, you only have like a 4-inch strip of visible blue, and it wasn't until after I've run the same problem. It's like, is that blue? Is that red? I can't see anything. It's like I should have made them bigger. I should have put like across the back. We should have put one on the back and on the arm. I mean, it's tape. It's not expensive.
And the other thing I would suggest to them is ours was like a bright green color. Theirs was red, which is the same color as dead reg. So I would see that, and I'd have to look. I'm like, is that a dead guy or a red guy? Mm-hmm. So if they're in trees and cover, I can't clearly tell whether they're in green, black, or tan.
Yeah, I know in some of the other games I've seen more fluorescent colors too.
Yeah.
Blue can hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
So can a dark red. Something like a green, a light green or light yellow, or, well, not even yellow, I suppose that wouldn't show, but lighter color, something that's going to stand out.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I saw in relation to dead flags, or dead rags, is people wouldn't have them put all the way back. Yeah. Because Max at one point, I was like, hey, are you dead? He's like, no, why? This is your dead rag's out. It's because that Velcro piece, he has that.
You have to tuck it in.
He tucked it in, but the Velcro piece snagged on his cage, and when he turned it, it came out, so it was like halfway out. And then it was the same thing with Talon. He was walking, and I was just like, are you dead? And he's like, no, it's just your dead rag's out. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest thing I saw.
That's a tricky tactic.
Well, okay, so last year I was talking to Travis. We were playing a game. I was just like, you know what? I just want to walk across from the barn to the blue house, nonchalant, and act like I'm dead, but not like running, so they think I'm still alive. Like maybe I'll trick them to thinking I'm dead. Can I do that? And he's like, you can't put on a dead rag, but otherwise, yeah, I do it. So I did do it.
And you made it?
I made it all the way across. I just walk and, have my gun kind of up in the air, like on my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just kind of like, what a nice stroll in the woods. And I got all the way across. I'm like, that totally worked. It's like, I'm going to do that again.
I inadvertently did that last year, too.
This was during the Operation Nightmare games.
Okay.
It wasn't until, 5 minutes later that the refs told me, because I was like, I'm done. I can't play anymore. I'm tired. And the ref's just like, well, the other team actually gave up 15 minutes ago. You guys aren't fighting anybody right now. And I was just like, what? And he's like, yeah, we just wanted to see how this was going to go. So I was like, no wonder we're not getting shot.
Well, that brings up one good story, too. There's one Corona guy on their team who hunkered down in, the third story of the White House in the village. I think it took about 20 people to take him out. Because
I heard, isn't that where they were all rushing in the house and all
Yeah,
screaming and yelling in there?
Because nobody had any nades left, so they just, rushed it with a bunch of people. So.
We'll take them out by superior numbers.
Yeah, a couple of us will die, but we'll get them.
Yeah. I was going to say, I accidentally did what you were describing last year, or I was just walking. I didn't think anybody was around. I was just walking around. I was just going to go talk, say something to Travis or whatever. And then, I realized there's, 5 guys standing right there in the other team. And they think I'm dead, so I'm like, I better go back this way.
Well, in respect to dead, Jesus, Joseph, and Mary, I got shot more when I was dead than I did when I wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw your hand up, I drop my gun, I'm reaching for my dead rag, and I get peppered by 3 different directions.
There were a lot of trigger-happy people on both teams.
Yeah.
There was. After you two and I were at that flag, it was in the video, but I cut a lot of it out.
A lot of swearing, was
There was some swearing, and it was a lot. I was chatting back and forth with Walker, just being funny and all that, and that doesn't need to be in the video. But we're both laying there dead, and the other team,
trying to raise the flag.
When I was trying to raise the flag, what I cut out was they kept shooting. I'm like, hey! When I'm hit, I'm waving my arms. Why? Because I can't get my dead rag yet. So, but when I first started yelling, I was angry, and about halfway through it, I was like, I'm not angry. They don't realize. They see me going like this. This doesn't say anything.
That means
so I'm yelling out, when I
more.
wave my arms, it means I'm dead, because I can't get my dead rag. It's just like
my scenario in the Big Pines was, hit, because I just get peppered by that minigun and some other guys in front of me.
And then we kept getting shot from our own team.
Yeah.
And that did put in the video. We were getting shot from our own team, and he's just like, hey, we're hit. And I was like, I think they're trying to shoot the guy trying to raise the flag. So I fell over, and not 5 seconds later, he was hit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I've learned from playing paintball a number of years, if you get hit, it's okay to go into cover, because when you get hit, there's usually, as Gary would say, 5 to 10 more paintballs still on the way, so it's similar to Airsoft.
By the time you yell it, there's 3 or 4 on the way. That's why I don't... and that's why, when they were shooting me and I'm waving my arms and I started yelling, I remembered what Gary says. They see me kneeling.
Yeah.
For all they know, they thought I was still trying to raise the flag, waving my arms like that. So it was just stupid of me to do that.
And I don't know if it's cheating. If it is, I apologize. But when I got hit and then got peppered up the side, I crawled behind a tree. It was like my death rattle crawl, I'll call it. But I went behind a tree because that battle was still full on, and I was right in the middle.
No, that's not wrong. As long as you weren't shooting.
I was not shooting. I was dragging everything, including
Usually
myself.
when I get shot...
My pride.
Usually when I get shot, I'll find somewhere comfortable to sit, so it might be a while.
Like Tim when he ran out to the small pines.
Yeah. I don't go closer to the medic necessarily. I'm just like, I'm going to go sit underneath this tree. I don't want to be in the sun or something. So.
That's why when I got shot at Small Pine, I was just kind of standing there because it was shady. But then I looked, I'm right in their line of fire for whoever's behind me. I was like, I'm going to move over a little bit.
I'll lay down.
My dad is Skinner. My brother is Sunrunner. I'm Sparrow. Michael has Sparkles because we like S.
Yeah.
They all pick S. So let's pick a name with S so Tim can't say it.
You say it just fine.
I'm getting better. I've been really trying the last few years to get rid of my lisp.
I was not messing with you when I said I didn't even notice you had a lisp until you told me about it.
Oh, because I've been trying to work on it.
Yeah.
Because when I first started here, Mike told me, he's like, you're aware you have a lisp? I was like, yeah, I'm aware, I didn't really try because, where I used to work, I wasn't with people all the damn time.
That's the other thing.
Well, that's the other thing.
You know what is the much more appropriate nickname for Z or Pop A Smoke or Misty?
What?
Giggles.
Giggles?
Every effing video you watch, you can hear him giggling.
He's got a very distinctive giggle.
I mean, my wife, when she was here on your surprise, she's like, I like Brian. She's like, I'm like, I don't know, everybody likes Brian.
She told me, she's like, I'm going to go steal your friend. I'm just like, well, have fun with that.
So it's sort of social. Demented and sad, but social, right?
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm Sparrow with Squirrel Team 6 with...
Scooter with Squirrel Team 6.
Brownicus from Squirrel Team 6 as well.
Okay, I think we established we're all with Squirrel Team 6. Jesus.
Squirrel Team 6.
Call your
Squirrel
hits.
Team 6! Goodbye.